Hi, I'm Chef Frank. This is Protocooks, and today we're making sliders. Chef Frank, what are sliders? Let me tell you. Sliders are little burgers, 2 or 3 bites. And they take me back to my youth, my misspent youth, of going out and maybe having a few too many drinks and then stopping at White Castle. So my sliders are basically, that's the model for them. So what I'm going to show you today is how I make my sliders. They're delicious, they're easy, and they serve a crowd without a lot of effort. Let's talk about the ingredients. First one I want to talk about is ketchup. I use Heinz. I think Heinz is a great product. I'm not sponsored by any of these brands, by the way, but this to me is the gold standard of ketchup. If you have another ketchup that you like, tell me in the comments. I'd like to know. Onions, chopped white onions. I have about 2 medium-sized onions chopped really fine. Pickles. The pickles I use, these look like gherkins or cornichon. They're not. They're just baby dills. And I'll show you how I cut these later, but I like the baby dills because there's not a lot of seeds in them, and they're nice and firm and crunchy. 80-20 ground beef. I bought the beef ground. I like to grind my own meat, but I find for the sliders, you don't really need to. Just make sure it has a fair amount of fat. Don't get anything lower than 80-20. You want to have 20% fat, 80% meat. Delicious. And right here I have about 2.5 pounds. And then last but not least, the buns. Now, I normally use Martin's potato rolls. You can use this size, there's 12. There's another size that has 24 in there, that if you want even more mini sliders, they're just basically 1 bite, you can get those as well. I think Martin's, again, are kind of like the way to go with this. The other one on the market is King's Hawaiian, which I think are absolutely delicious. So you can use either one of these. These are really nice. The thing that I like about both of these buns or these rolls is they hold up, right? Sometimes when you get supermarket hamburger buns, they tend to crumble and fall apart, but these are made in such a way that they hold up to the burger. They give you a nice kind of like bite or chew into it. Lovely. First thing I'm going to do is get the meat into the pan. And this is the method that I use. Now, it's not my method. I didn't, make this up, but it's one I've used for many years, and it's a sheet pan method. Basically, what I'm going to do is take my meat, and I'm going to press it into a sheet pan and put this in the oven. So I have my about 2.5 pounds of meat. This goes directly into the pan. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this into the pan almost like a pizza dough, right? I want it to go from edge to edge, right? And press it in to the corners. And get it as even as possible, right? You want to get this even thickness all the way around. So you just keep pressing. You can use your palm. Right, this also makes the burger, gives the burger some structure and holds it together so it's not crumbling all over the place. But I try and get it as even as possible into the pan so it's got a nice even thickness throughout. Now, if you want these to be thicker, mine come out fairly thin. If you want these to be thicker, you can probably put a little more meat in here. But I always feel like a slider needs to be a very small kind of patty, not too thick. If there's any empty spots, fill those empty spots. This is easily going to make 12 little mini sliders. And that's that. The meat's in the pan, pressed evenly as possible. My oven is on. I have the broiler on low. If you don't have a broiler, that's fine. Just put it at like 400 degrees and you can cook it at 400 degrees. I like to put it under the broiler to get a little bit of browning. And the next thing we're going to do is season this up. Salt and pepper. A fair amount of salt. We want to go fairly heavy when I season. I'm going high so that my salt sprinkles nice and evenly. I have a nice even dusting. I'm using kosher salt. If you're going to use table salt, you want to go less salt. But for the most part, kosher salt has bigger flakes, so I can put a fair amount on. The other thing about kosher salt is that when you put it onto meat, it doesn't immediately dissipate and soak up all the liquid, so you can see how much you put on there. Fresh cracked black pepper. And then my onions. And these are chopped really nice and fine. Not fine, it's like a small dice. And I try and spread these as evenly as possible over the meat. Another thing that's cool about this method is that you could get this far with it. Wrap it up and put it in the fridge. So if you're gonna have a big party, or you're gonna have a holiday party, or you're gonna have a barbecue or something like that, you can get 4 of these trays set up and just get it ready to this point and not cook it. Put it in the fridge, and then you could kind of just throw them in the oven and you can have lots of burgers really quick. While the burgers are in the oven, I'm going to show you how I deal with the pickles and the rolls. The pickles I chose here are dill pickles. Now these look like little like gherkins or cornichon, but they're not. They're just little mini dill pickles, and I love these. First of all, because they're adorable. Okay. Second of all, because when you cut these, right, you get these beautiful little pickle slices. There's not a lot of seeds in them. And I never really liked the seeds of the pickles. They're a little squishy. And not only that, sometimes when you take a bite of a burger with one dill pickle slice, the dill pickle slice pulls out. This way, when I put these onto the bun, I get good distribution and I get a little pop of flavor every time I take a bite. This is how I do the buns. Now, I have my Martin's potato rolls. This is 12, right? Open her up, but don't throw away the bag. Just hold on. Trust me, you'll see why. Okay? This goes into my making things for a crowd or making things for a lot of people. I like to prep ahead, right? So I save the bag because these fit perfectly in that bag, right? You get your buns and you slice them while they're all together. Don't pick them apart and slice these individually. That's a waste of time, okay? When we put the burgers together, we'll pull them apart. So I slice these down the middle. And then in order to keep them from going stale, I slice them and I put them back in my bag, if your bag wants to cooperate. Right? So now these will stay nice and moist and fresh for when our burger's all ready. Give it a twist and put it aside until the burgers are ready. So the burgers are halfway there. Right about now, it's shrunk up a little. We got a lot of liquid, and I'm going to dump that liquid off. So I had the burgers in the oven for about 10 to 12 minutes. I got a lot of that liquid off, so I just dumped that liquid off. I don't want it. I don't want my burgers to be soggy. And now I'm going to put some cheese on for the rest of the cooking. I use American cheese. I didn't have this in my ingredient talk, and that's okay. I like American cheese for this. Deli slices, I do not buy the ones in the cellophane. I just feel like the ones you get from the deli that are sliced are a little bit better. And I like American. If you want to use another cheese, that's absolutely fine. I think American melts really well, and if you buy a decent brand, it is really tasty with this, okay? So I'm going to cover everything here, right? Usually it's about 3 slices across. If you don't want cheese, you don't need to do the cheese. It's totally up to you. But I do like the American cheese on this. It's going to melt. It's going to be beautiful, okay? If there's any kind of bare spots, I just tear them and fill in. It doesn't have to be beautiful and neat. It just needs to fill in with the cheese, okay? And these are going to go back into the oven for another few minutes for the cheese to melt, and then we'll plate it up. All right, so the burgers are done. Look at that. Cheese is melted. They're cooked all the way through. I'm not looking for a medium rare here. I'm looking for cooked all the way through. And because we didn't overcook these, they'll still be nice and juicy. In order to cut the burgers, I have 2 things that you can use. I mean, you can use a knife if you want to, that's fine. But I find a spatula or a pizza cutter work really well for this. And I just get a kind of general idea of what size this is. And I'll probably get more than a dozen out of these. And then I cut, right? So I want these to be fit on the bun really well. So I'll just do about the same size as the bun. And sometimes you have little extras on the end, and that's fine. You can always just eat the little extras. But this slice is really nice. So I definitely have more than 12. I'm going to cut this little end off here. Okay. Let me put this aside and let's assemble. So I didn't pull my buns apart yet. Didn't do anything like that. I have all my buns together. Right? These fell apart a little. I have my tray where it's going to go. I'm going to put this on the side over here. I have my ketchup, my pickles, my burgers are right here. So I take these tops and I kind of just fold them out. Right? These are my bottoms. So if they're all connected, it works a little bit better. Okay? And now I take my burgers and I place them on the buns. right? We do this assembly line. We're working in a restaurant here, right? And basically this is to make our home cooks be able to do this faster. Right? Nice cheeseburgers. Oh. Good. Cool. So all my burgers are on there. Little squeeze of ketchup. If you don't have this squeezy bottle, this to me is the best bottle you can use. It just has a little squeezy thing on it. Give it a good shake so you don't get that ketchup water. It whistles for you. Okay? And now I have my little mini dills. So I spread them out so that basically you'll get a little bit of dill pickle in every bite and you won't get any dills kind of sliding out on you. Okay? Look at that. Good. Okay? Now we take the tops, put the tops back on, and now we can pull them apart. I'm going to get my tray or my plate, and now I can pull them apart and stack. What's great about these burgers too is that at this point, if you want to put them into like a catering tray and put some foil over them and keep them warm in the oven, you can put them in a warm oven and they'll actually get like nice and soft and steamed and be even more delicious. So you can do these ahead as well and keep them warm. Make a nice stack out of these babies. And that's how you do a stack of burgers in no time at all. Look at that. Isn't she gorgeous? Let's give them a taste. This is what I love about these little sliders, that you get a little bite of everything. And once the burger is on the buns start to get nice and soft and a little steamy. Absolutely delicious. What else I love is that they're easy to make. You can make a lot in a short amount of time if you follow this method. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give us a thumbs up, like, subscribe, hit the little bell to get notified when we have a new video. We have merch in the link down below. We have an address if you want to contact us that way. We also have a Patreon account. I want to thank all my patrons for helping us out. And I hope you enjoyed. Sliders, that is. I'm Chef Frank. This is Protocooks. Have a good one.